It was spelled backwards. You can tell this is gonna be a good video because look, I dressed up for you. I wish I was showing a little more chest for the ladies, but I must say, I look a little good. I wanna bring you something a little different. I'm gonna tell you a story of something that just recently happened to me. It's gonna teach you a very strong lesson if you're an artist out there. This story is all about how I ruined a $500 painting. So let's start at the beginning. I love to do art in my garage. It's a bigger open space. I can move around and do bigger canvases, but it also allows me to play my music a little loud, leave my garage door open to where I can see all the single moms walk by, do a little peacocking and soft hard flex to show off. But sometimes those neighbors will stop by and see what I'm working on. And one of my neighbors happened to do just that. Saw I was working on an acrylic pour and asked if I could make one for her birthday as a commission piece. And I said, most definitely. We decided this piece was gonna go above her bed. So I had suggested, let's do a nice big canvas. She loved the idea. Her only requirement was that it matched or complemented the colors that she had just recently painted her bedroom. These colors that she painted her bedroom was a light heather gray, which was called French silver, and just an ultra pure white. So white and gray, essentially. I had come up with a color swatch where we had taken that heather gray with a turquoise metallic blue with a little bit of copper, and then we would surround it with that white trim doing a Dutch pour. So it'd be a nice negative pour that would stand out against the gray wall. She loved the idea. She wanted me, however, to use the exact colors because she had leftover paint. And I said, okay, which was house paint. Now you probably already know where I'm going with this story, but don't jump ahead just yet. Now I have actually made many art pieces using household paint, generally leftovers from testers that I use on my own walls. And they're actually a great little hack provided you don't get any additives in them, but that's another story. So when she gave me this leftover paint, I said, no problem, because I have worked with it before. However, I've never worked with it in the way that I'm about to go into. You see, household paint that you use on your very walls that you're looking around in your room right now is designed to do a few things. One, it's obviously designed to change the color of your walls. And to do that, it's designed to dry fairly quickly. So when you go from one side of the wall to the other side while you're painting it, it's meant to dry in like literally 10 minutes. So that way, when you get to minute 11, you can go back to the other side and add another coat and go across, because you may have to add 2 to 3 coats. And that's how paint is designed, as well as other additives for scratch resistant, odor blockers, and all that other stuff. But we're not talking about that at the moment. Household paint is designed to dry very fast. I know this. I know it because I've used it before, and thus I know how to work around it. So you introduce things like slow drying mediums to slow down the process. And I've done this in the past on artworks that are like 12 by 12, 12 by 16, 16 by 24, but nothing that was a 3 foot by 4 foot canvas going above a headboard. So as I start doing my acrylic pour and splashing my colors and pushing it around, I instantly notice within about the 4 to 6 minute mark that I'm starting to get ripples and waves, and the paint is not self-leveling. Now for me, self-leveling is a personal choice. I like it when things are kind of even for an acrylic pour. However, when you start to have paint that dries exceedingly fast and you push and move it, you're gonna see these waves because it starts shelling over on other layers that have started to dry, making it not look aesthetically pleasing, at least to my taste. So I have already started to ruin the painting. I've started to try to correct it by putting on more paint and nothing's working out. And I have instantly noticed that as I'm making this artwork, it's not gonna turn out the way that I want. And I have gone through a very expensive canvas, but I also know that this commission's not gonna work out in the way that I want. So what do? I try to save the piece. I decided rather than having a self-leveling piece, hey, let's mix it up a little bit. I grabbed some cellophane, wadded up into a randomized ball, and started going around my piece to add waves and peaks and cracks across what would be the geo shape of the color coming across the entire canvas. So this way it would hide the shelling effect that was occurring from that fast drying house paint. Well, it kind of worked in the way that I wanted, but it wasn't still coming out to where I thought it would be good enough. And this is where it leads into my lesson. One of the things that I always teach people on this very channel here is when you buy new paint or you have new paint, you need to test it for what you're gonna be using it for in the end result. You always need to test your paint to see how it works when it's wet. You need to test your paint so you can see how it works when it's becoming dry. You need to test your paint to see how it looks when it's finished and dried and cured. And I've done this on smaller pieces, and I did this for this very painting, but I did it on a small swatch. I didn't do it across a huge, gigantic canvas. And this is where it came to bite me in the butt. This commission right here was for $500, and I don't feel like it's worth $500, not even close. So what did I do? I decided to double down. I have some loose gold leaf laying around my house that comes in different colors. I got gold, silver, and copper. And one of the underlying tones I was using in this painting was copper. So I decided to go get some Mod Podge, which is a craft glue that holds up very well, and start putting Mod Podge on top of my copper paint. And then I decided to lay some gold leaf, which was the copper gold leaf on top of it, and start having all these peaks and crowns to match in with what was on the outside geo negative space, white pour that. So that way there was all these different peaks and valleys. And you know what? It started actually coming together really, really well. So I did the entire canvas in this fashion. Now, I showed the piece to the lady that was commissioning it to me, and I was honest. I told her I had an issue. I don't feel like it's worth the $500, but I did something completely different, tried to save the canvas, and it's way more unique than it ever was going to be before. And you know what? She actually loves the piece. Now, I still don't think it's worth what I had envisioned, so I'm going to sell it for less because I don't feel like it's up to my par for what my normal art is. But I actually love it. This is very unique. It's still in a work in progress stage. I'm gonna do an epoxy clear coat on top of it, so it does self-level out, but it's gonna have those peaks and valleys underneath. So that way when light hits it from different angles, it's going to scatter across the entire piece, having super bright specular highlights and all these dark pits into it. It's gonna add this beautiful contrast, and it looks so good as the morning sun and afternoon light and evening light cascade across it, because it makes it look like a different piece every time you walk into the room. It's truly unique, but still, I'm not fully happy with me, because even though I teach a lot of you out there, it still shows that people who are professional, veterans, well-adversed, well-educated, still make basic bonehead mistakes. But I want you to walk away from this lesson and long video. Thank you for tuning in for this whole entire thing. I want you to know that always prepare as much as you can. It's kind of like the old adage, I guess, when you're cutting wood, measure twice, cut once. I probably should have done some more thorough testing, sat down and really thought about it, because if I didn't save the commission, I would have been out a lot of money on the canvas, materials, the glosses, the gold leaves, the epoxy, all that stuff. And then I got a piece of artwork that's just sitting around and kind of mocking me from the distance. Hey, you wasted money on me. Stop looking at me. I'm gonna collect so much dust just sitting here because no one will ever buy me. Ever. It's judging me. Oh yeah, and don't forget, you're also a bad artist. How do I know? Because I'm bad art. We've all been there. For me, personally, there's nothing worse as an artist than when you have a vision in your mind and you don't even come close to it. However, I need to teach you another lesson within this story. Just because you fail at something doesn't mean that you can't pick yourself back up. I was encouraged enough to try something new and experiment. And you know what? I'm very happy with how this copper gold leaf went on top, and I played with it and it looks beautiful. I actually really, really love this piece and how it comes across. So don't be afraid to fail. Learn from your failures. Use it for your next piece. You can guarantee you that I'm gonna test the paints for when I have to do bigger canvases and see the drying effects across it. I guarantee you, because I'm not gonna waste any more money. But I want you to take these lessons, test your paint. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to experiment. Also, be upfront with your clients and customers because they will appreciate it. Trust me. I'm always gonna be here to help you, and I gotta tell you about the wins that I do, but I also, importantly, have to tell you about the fails because I'm just like you. I'm trying my damnedest out there to make it in the art world by splashing a couple colors, having a little bit of entertainment, give you a couple laughs, heck, show off to the ladies, be a slightly bit naughty every now and then, and have fun on this YouTube channel. But more importantly, I care about you progressing in the art world or progressing, internally so that way you can have a creative outlet because, being creative simply makes you feel good, save your life. Now let's get over with the emotional stuff. It's mid-afternoon, it's a Friday for me. By the time you see this video, I have no idea. So, hey, I'm gonna start early and go get myself a whiskey. That's what I love to do. Why don't you check the videos over to my right-hand side? I'll catch y'all later. And as always, take care. And of course, peace.